Hello and welcome to the Yarnings podcast. I'm Kristine and I'll be your host. Today is Tuesday, November 18th. This is episode 35. I don't have a name for it yet. Maybe I'll come up with something awesome while I'm recording. You guys will have to listen for the brain waves churning as, oh, that just looked like I was crazy, but I meant the little gears in my brain spinning around. So today is cold, but there's no snow. And I'll talk a bit more about that in a second. Tuesday, November 18th. Did I say that already? I'm going to go ahead and go into the life stories, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what's going on. So I've been doing some trip prep. I am feeling a little flustered at the moment because there are many things to do before I go on a trip. We're going to see my husband's family for Thanksgiving, and along the way we're going to stop and see a bunch of friends and try and meet up with some friends that I know online but haven't had the pleasure of meeting in person, and other friends that I've met in person, but most of our friendships are online at this point because we live far away. That is coming up, so next week there will not be a regular podcast episode. I may try and record some little segments with my phone, but I'm not sure if I will be able to put them together and publish them normally. I might just do some small segments on Instagram, so you can kind of keep your eye on all the normal places that I post and see what happens. I don't think I'm bringing my laptop with me, and that's usually how I record real episodes. It would be awesome to be able to record on the road, but I'm not sure that I want to carry the laptop along in the car, because next Tuesday when I normally record, we will be driving. So, that's the story with that. Other life stories. We did have a big snow warning this last week. Last Thursday was a predicted snow day, and there wasn't very much here. I have a couple little pictures, so I'll see if I can insert those on one of these sides. But yeah, we didn't have very much, but a lot of the schools got canceled, so it did impact some people's lives around here. We are too close to the sea level, I think, but there are a lot of areas around us that are in the hills, that are up higher, that are closer to the gorge. They get the gorge wind, and it makes the snow even crazier to be that cold. So, snow day. I did get to hang out with my niece and nephew. My brother. There's 5 of us kids in my family, and Leonard is the next eldest to me. I'm the oldest, and he's second. His kids, Leah and Leonard, and you've heard me talk about Leah a little bit. They came over for the day, and we played games and did crafts and baked, and it was just a lovely day. I enjoy getting to be the happy Aunt Kristine to play with the kids. I don't have energy for it all the time, but it worked out this time, and I'm really glad to have that opportunity to spend the time with them. So that was Friday. And that did kind of take a little bit of my energy away. So my weekend was a little more low-key, but that's okay. Got the things done that we needed to get done. And I think that's all of the big things going on. Yeah, just getting ready for the trip, trying to figure out what all I need to bring, what I might want to bring to people, what I might want to wear, doing laundry, planning trip food, all those fun things that are kind of necessary to going on a trip. But trying to do it in a way that doesn't make me crazy with a ton of lists. It's kind of a new adventure. Let's move in to the Yarnings, and we'll talk about knitting adventures. In fact, I have had some knitting adventures this week, and I am excited to tell you about some of them. I'm going to set this down and talk about something else first. All right, so I have a finished object, but I'm not ready to show it yet. I'll show you. It's still got ends hanging out. This is the yarn that's left. This is Sheep Spot's Sustainable Merino Fingering in the colorway Inside Out and Upside Down, or maybe it's Upside Down and Inside Out. I need to look that up because I write it in my notes every time and then I'm still not sure. But I love it. It's a beautiful corally with steels and greens and a little bit of yellow, and it knits up just lovely. And you've seen me working on this the last few weeks, so I finished it, and I am probably going to take some pictures of it, and then I'm going to release the pattern. I have someone ready to test it for me, and I'm excited to get this out to the world. Might have some plotting going on with Sasha of Sheep Spot. So I'm really excited about this. I'm just not quite ready to show you the full finished object yet. But I did, oh, that made some fun noises, I bet. Sorry. I did cast on the small size. I got some extra ends here, but you get the idea. So this is the smaller size version. It's the same. It's just littler. I've got a different purple stitch marker to mark the beginning of the row and lots of other little purple ones because I really enjoy matching my stitch markers and my bags to my knitting. And I have a lot of stitch markers. Well, I have a fair amount of stitch markers, of fancy ones from Knit Cubby or Miss Pearl. Those are probably the ones that I have the most of. I have the whole front of this drawer right here is little tins. These are Miss Pearl tins with lots of stitch markers in them. So sometime I'll have to go through and show you some of my favorites. But for right now, this is yarn from my stash, quite old yarn from my stash. I used it to knit some of my Wren shawls for pictures and for selling. I don't think that the blue violet, that's what this colorway is, I don't think that this one has sold yet. It's still in my pile of finished shawls to be sold. And so this is probably from 2010, 2011-ish. And I still had half a ball-ish left. I used it for some purses and stuff as well. So, yeah, this will be a nice, just close around the neck version of the cowl. And I'm zooming along. It feels so fast compared to the long one. So this will go really quick, and I'm excited to have two sizes. That'll be a fun feature of the pattern, and I think that'll give people a little more of a choice. So that is the yet to be really shown off cowl inspired by Sheep Spot yarn. So that's coming. The next thing I threw back in my Rose City Yarn Crawl bag. It's just pretty much been living on my bed because I've been working on it while I do things. I've been starting out my mornings with a podcast. Yesterday it was Snappy Stitches with Chrissy. This morning it was Yarngasm with Kristine Vine. And they helped me get a few inches here and there on what I'm working on. So you saw last week that the back of my sweater was done. It has now been blocked to its pretty and nice dimensions that it was supposed to be. I used the blocking instructions that Amy Herzog recommended, where you just pinned the central parts that needed to be at a certain dimension. So these spots, the shoulders, and then you leave the edge to kind of curl under because that's going to be mattress stitched together. So it doesn't need to be pinned at an angle or anything. Just getting the key spots to the right dimensions. So the back was already done. Now it's blocked. The front was completed. I finished this on Friday night, I want to say. Let you see the cables now that it's been blocked, and you can really see the pretty cables and the lace detail. There's 3 different charts of patterning in there, all mushed together and then shaping up along these edges where the stockinette meets the willow buds. This is the willow buds, this first section. And then it worked all the way up, still doing the patterning up the shoulder. And there wasn't very clear instructions on what to do with the patterning to sympathetically decrease it along. So I just tried to do the best that I could. And then I went to block it. I picked it up, brought it to the sink, and I have this bad habit of when I bind off, I'll take the yarn, loop it around, and tie it in a knot. This one's already done, but doing it so that it's not all the way done until I get scissors, and then I can pull the loop through. And usually there's no problem. Well, this time I got it to the bathroom, which is right behind this room. That's where I do my washing and I do my hair dyeing and all that. There's a big new pink splotch on the wall that I totally didn't notice until afterwards. Oops. So it's about 10 feet from my craft room to the bathroom. And I feel this little clink, clink, clink feeling. And I had caught the edge of the end in the craft room and pulled out a couple rows of the stitches between the craft room and the bathroom. And I felt oh so pretty, in the words of the Knitmores. It was certainly when knitting attacks. So I picked up the stitches and put them on a double point and let that kind of dangle out of the sink where everything else was blocking. I stuck it up on something so that the rest of it was still in there and went ahead and blocked it all because the rest of it was wet. I needed to do something. And but sticking them on the DPN kept them from falling out further. And I went ahead and blocked it that way. And so now I need to go back, reknit however many rows. I need to determine where it was, but luckily I have the other side, and so I can compare and see how many willow buds are on both sides. I think it's only a couple rows because it's only like this much of the yarn, so like 3 feet. So it won't be hard, and then I'll go back and reblock this edge so that the lace opens up. Yeah, I couldn't do it quite as well with it on the DPN. So yeah, very pretty. But despite that, I am super proud of my first real grown-up cable work. And so then I moved on to the sleeves. Let's pull these out of here without... I have multiple balls of yarn. I'll tell you about that in a second. So here's where I'm at with the sleeves. I am at almost 8 of the 11 increases before I do some straight work and then up to the sleeve cap. So I am well on my way. I am over my elbow when I lay it out here. So that far. So the sleeve cap will be that spot-ish. So yeah, coming along really good on that. I listened to the end of We Free Men by Terry Pratchett last night. We started that right around the time that I cast on the sweater. It was towards the beginning of the month, and that has been some great sweater knitting listening. I really enjoy the Witches books and the Tiffany Aching series of Discworld. So these are coming along, and I am continuing to alternate skeins. I alternated skeins on the front and the back. I just was too worried that it would not, it would have clumps, clumps of coloring. So I had the two skeins I'd been using for the front and the back. There's still plenty of those. And then I wound up the third ball, and I'm working from the inside and the outside of this, and then one of these is on each sleeve. So it takes a little bit of ball management to not be tangled all up. But when I have it sitting on my lap, either in a chair or on my bed, it works out pretty well. So I know I'm not going to use all of this yarn. I don't know that I'll even finish. There's no way I'll finish these balls even with the cowl that still needs to be knit. But I'm going to use it all at some point, so I went ahead and balled this up because I didn't want to just alternate skeins from these two. I've had too much problem with the tangling with just two when doing two at a time. So that is coming along. There is still a chance that I could get this finished before my trip. Maybe. At least I will have the front and the back are done almost once I fix my attack. I'm going to seam them together, seam the shoulders together, and then I have to put the sleeves in. So I'm thinking that even if I get the sleeves done, I block them, I sew up that part, and then I work on the cowl neck while we're driving. Even if that part of it's not blocked, if the cowl neck isn't, because it comes over very nicely, I think it's still going to be fine that I could potentially wear it. So yeah, there's a chance I probably will finish it in November. It's just whether or not I'll finish it in time to actually wear it on the trip. I'll probably have a backup plan in my packing for what I'll wear that day. Yay! So, custom fit sweater. This is the Alta sweater by Amy Herzog. I'm doing it in the custom fit recipe so that I can get it to fit my body. And the yarn is Blue Moon Fiber Arts Woo Boo, and the colorway Sucks the Rock. The colorway Stumptown Brown. When I say Blue Moon Fiber Arts, I want to say Socks the Rock. That's what is more common in my head. So that's how it came out. And I'll stick that all back in there. Rose City Yarn Crawl bag. All right. So socks. This was what I was standing on at the beginning. These are my vanilla candy corn socks. And I worked on them quite a bit while I watched my nephew, Little Leonard, he's Leonard the Fourth, while I watched his basketball game on Saturday. So I think I'm going to start the ribbing. I don't think I'm going to make these the length of the whole skeins. I still have quite a bit of yarn left. Let's see. Isn't it just beautiful though? Can you see the sparkles? If I move it, you can kind of see the glimpse of it. So there's still 39 grams of yarn. And these are already at a pretty nice length. If I like to hold it over like that, if I do a couple inches of ribbing, I'm going to have it at a length that I like to wear. And then I'll have the yarn, and maybe I can do some kind of a cute Halloween stuffy for next year. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start. I think I'm going to do a 3x1 rib because I really like how that looks. And then I'd like to cast on another pair of socks for my trip because that's not going to take me too long. And the next one on my list is this self-striping Cyborg's Craft Room. So I might ball this up and bring it with me. Maybe I might have too much to do. I might have too many things. I guess it'll depend on how far I got on my sweater. Because like I showed you last week, I've got yarn for baby sweater, daybreak. Move those over there. And then I'll just bypass that. I have a needle adjacent project that I'm going to be starting in. I took the tag game off. This is a very old label for Knit Picks Gloss in the Parsley colorway. I have 2 skeins of this, which is 100 grams, and I'm going to be doing a test knit for Julia, who's Wee Sheep on Ravelry, and so that needs to be done by the beginning half of December. So I'm going to be working on that. So I'd like to cast that on. It looks like it'll be one that it'll take a little bit of concentration, but totally doable for a road trip, I think. It'll be a lot of hours in the car. I think it's more how long my wrists will hold out. So that's the needle adjacent. I also have in the pile the Color Affection, which has gotten no love this week, so I won't even take it out. All right, let's look at my list, because I was just going by the order of things on my table. All right. So this week I also queued a few things. Well, actually there were things that were already in my queue, and I bought the patterns for them. There is an indie gift along, indie designer gift along, I think is what it's called. And a lot of independent designers have joined together to sell some of their patterns at a discount, and then there's going to be a knit along for them. I know that there's a few podcasters even in the list. So I went through the list yesterday, and there were a couple things that were either on my queue or pretty high up in my list of favorites, and designers that I wanted to support anyhow. So I bought Wink by Hannah Masijeweska. It is the worsted weight version of Ink. It's a long coat length almost cardigan, and it's got cables that go back diagonally with ribbing and long sleeves. And the worsted weight version really appealed to me because I have some, I might do it with Cascade 220. I've got some beautiful lavender that I had planned for the castle pullover. And I fell out of love with that pattern, which is sometimes that happens. But that might be what that turns into, or I don't know, something else. So that was a good one that I wanted to get in my library. And then the other one that I bought was Mormorio. I'm not sure if that's how you say it. Mormorio by Heather Zapetti. She is Stitch Sprout, maybe that's her blog. I'll put that up on the screen. And it's a beautiful shawl with stripes and lace, and I love that combination. I really enjoy stripes. I really enjoy knitting lace. So that one has been on my queue for a while, and so now I own the pattern. So if you're interested in checking out who's part of the Indie Designer Gift Along, they have a group on Ravelry, and I'll link to that in the show notes, along with everything else I talk about. All right, moving on to spinning a tale. I have not touched my spinning this week. I hope to bring either my Turkish or my trindle with me on my trip. In the past, I have spun in the car on my Turkish spindle, and that doesn't work too bad. I mean, you don't have very much room to hold it up, so you do a lot more smaller pieces between winding that onto the cop. But it's a nice way to entertain myself on a long trip, so and while I'm at destinations, it's nice too. So one of those probably will come with me. I just need to decide which one. And Sagas of Geekery. I feel like I should say that in an awesome voice because it sounds so epic. This week we played a bunch of board games. I got to play with my niece Leah when she was over here on Friday. I taught her Splendor, which is a great game, and you've heard me talk about it. And we had tried to teach it on Halloween, but it got too late, so they didn't make it through a whole game. But I played with her and little Leonard watched, and that was fun. I think she enjoyed it. When I bought it, I thought, I'm going to teach Leah this one. And then with Eric, I played Trajan, which is another Stefan Feld game. He's one of my favorite game designers. And Race for the Galaxy, Lewis and Clark, which is a traveling game. There's a lot of Indians that are going to help you along the way, and you're moving up the river and the mountains with your expedition, and the first person to get to the mouth of the Columbia is the winner. And it takes quite a bit of strategy and planning ahead, and I totally didn't have that strategy. My husband beat me so bad in that one, but it's a really good game. And the Instagram post with it really got some fun conversation about board games and what we might want to bring to play at the Zombie Apocalypse. There are a lot of board game people that will be there, so that could be lots of fun. And then I played Splendor again last night, and I think I already said Race for the Galaxy. And while we are on our Thanksgiving trip, we have plans to play games with friends. We'll be meeting up with a couple different people that are gamers. Eric's friends in California are really the people that played games with him, and then it got him enjoying the process of it. And so one of the friends that we'll be staying with has a larger game collection than us by far, or at least he used to. I don't know if he still does. And then we'll be hosting a board game night while we're down there. So that will be much fun. So I'll have more to tell you about, whether it's games I play or games I see them playing when I come back. And when I'm working on these socks, I'm not very good about going back and forth, and so I get it twisted. So you see me untwisting my yarn. That's what's going on. I'll set them down for a moment because it is time for fanciful chatter. Let's talk about what I'm wearing. My shirt first is my twisted shirt, and it's got yarn on it from Portland's store, Twisted. They had these, and they had wraps a few years back, and I had to get one. And it's fun and comfy, and I'm wearing it with yoga pants, so it works out well. The shawl that I'm wearing is one of my designs. This is the Caritas shawl, and it is named so because of the show Angel. If you have seen that, you will know that Caritas is a protected demon bar. Yes, it sounds crazy, but it's such a good show. So this shawl can be worn quite a few different ways. If I had a shawl pin, I wear it like that. It is a very cool shape, and it's knit in 3 different colors of Blue Moon Fiber Arts Socks That Rock. I think True Blood Red, Mango Tango, but I don't remember what the third is. I'll link to my project page. I originally designed this shawl to be a cover-up for my nursing sister because it doesn't have lace, and so she could put it over the baby while she was nursing, and it made a really nice wrap that way. And then I made one for myself because I really liked how it turned out. And I still do. It's really a fun one. And this week, Boston Jen of the Down Cellar Studio podcast, she put up a post about fall shawl style, and she had seen me wearing this over top of one of my other outfits and added that picture as one of the featured pictures. So I thought, in honor of that, which I'll link to that post, in honor of that episode and that post, I would wear it today. So there you go. That's the Caritas shawl designed by me. When I wore it the first time for real around Knitters was at the second Sock Summit, so 2011. And there was a shop there that had little earrings, and I didn't put them on today so that I could actually show you. They have their needles cut up in 3 different colors, and it's like exactly the colors of my shawl. So I like to wear them together with it because of the knitting part of it, and because of the colors. And it brings back that memory of getting to wear this shawl at Sock Summit, and having lots of people take a look and see if they liked it, and that's always so much fun. Let's see, I've also got one of my Lolo bars over here to show you today. This one is pink grapefruit. I have pearl knits in the bathroom right now, and CC Cloves is somewhere right here. So it is super dry right now. My hands are they feel shredded. Like my fingerprint sensor on my iPhone, you can push the little thing and have it log you in. It isn't liking my thumb right now because the fingerprints, I think, have rubbed off a little. Washing my hands, blocking things, washing dishes. I don't know. I was playing with these pixel block Legos with the kids and trying to get them apart, and I swear that rubbed off part of my fingerprint. So, heavy use of my Lolo bars right now, trying to rehydrate my skin, keep them protected, and they're awesome because they really do a nice barrier. So even between, I can feel it right now, and I have eaten and washed my hands several times since then. So it's really nice that they're so protective. And back in the day, they were a sponsor of some of our podcast prizes. Their business is local to me. It says Brush Prairie. I'm not sure if they're still in Hazeldale, but here in the Vancouver area. And so I love supporting them. So I'll link to them in the show notes. I know that they're going to have some special Black Friday deals. So I'll try and link to that from when I see those go up from my Instagram perhaps or Facebook. All right, looking at my list again. Oh yes, the Book of Cooking. Still working on that title. I made lemon cookies with my niece this week while she was here last week. Kim, who was my roommate at Zombie Apocalypse, she had posted a link to cake mix cookies where you take a cake mix and add in eggs and oil, and we added sprinkles and lemon extract to make lemon cookies with some ground up vanilla beans, and that was really fun. It was great to get to cook with Leah. She really likes baking, and we had fun trying to put together the things that we would add into our cookies, and then she had suggested that lemon glaze would go really well on top instead of regular frosting, and so we did a lemon glaze, and that turned out really nice, and we made it yellow, and they were all happy and sunny. I'll try to remember if I took a picture of it. If I did, I'll put a picture in so you guys can see. So that was really fun to get to cook with her. The soup that I talked about making last week turned out excellent. Eric really liked it. And this week I made homemade pizza. That's one of my specialties, I suppose. It's nothing fancy, but the crust is homemade and it always tastes so good. And it's one of Eric's favorite things that I make. So we had homemade pizza last night. Tonight we're going to have our own little faux Thanksgiving with open-faced turkey sandwiches. We use veggie turkey because Eric's a vegetarian, and mashed potatoes and gravy, and I cut up the bread in triangles and put the turkey on top, and then mashed potatoes and dump gravy on top of it all, and it's delicious. And that makes me think of Thanksgiving. Just the combination of it all is so much fun. And I won't be here for my family's Thanksgiving, so this is one of those little ways that I can enjoy putting together my own Thanksgiving happiness. Oh, I have a can of regular cranberry in the jar that I'm going to open up, and I might make some corn, and I have a really spectacular idea for dessert, but we'll see if I get it done, and I'll tell you about that in 2 weeks. I'll go ahead and tell you. So I'm going to try, I've heard of people making cake mixes on their waffle makers, and I have some pumpkin bread, and I was thinking of making faux, like waffle cones out of this pumpkin cake mix, and then serving it with ice cream on top. I don't know. I need to do a little more looking and see what people have done when they adapt their cake mixes to work on the waffle iron. And so I need to do just a touch more research and see if there's something more I need to do. And we'll see if that, it's already 3:30. We'll see if that gets done for tonight, or if that will be a treat I try when I get back. So I definitely have some cooking stuff in the works, and the fall is always so nice to get back to some of my regular recipes because it's cool enough to cook. Cold in some cases. I've been wearing my pink slippers nonstop to keep myself warm. And I think I'm changing my title for the ending here. The happiness continues. I don't want the happy to end just because the episode is over. Today I wrote on my whiteboard a new saying. It has said grace in big letters to remind myself to give me grace as I go about my day. Give myself the same grace that I might give other people. But you can see right back there is my whiteboard, and it says, give thanks with a grateful heart, which seemed very appropriate for Thanksgiving. Since I'm not going to be here on Thanksgiving, I'm trying to remind myself of the wonderful thankfulness that I have, and hope that gives me hope to remember to be grateful for what I have and the people that I'm going to see. So give thanks with a grateful heart. And that'll do it for today's show. I'm finishing my row, and now I'm going to tell you where you can follow me around on the internet, of course. I am Kristine with a K on Ravelry. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram is probably where I'll be posting all of my pictures in the next week and a half. I am KDLB, just the letters, KDLB. You can find the Facebook, the Ravelry group. We have a Ravelry group, search for Yarnings Podcast. There's a Facebook group where I post updates, which is facebook.com/yarnings. And the show notes and everything will be linked at yarningspodcast.com, all squished together. So, until next time, I'll see you in 2 weeks. That's the story. Bye, guys.